One of the most important and difficult parts of the job search is negotiating your salary. While it can be intimidating at first, with a little bit of practice and some preparation, you'll be ready to negotiate for what you are worth. To start, you need to go into this conversation prepared. Review your personal budget so that you know the absolute minimum that you need to make in order to be financially stable. Be realistic. Don't add a dream car payment to your budget here, but make sure to factor in all of your expenses, even the small ones. If you can't afford the gas that it takes to get to your job, you'll be in a real pickle. Additionally, do your research so that you know what you are worth. Remember that most companies are going to work to hire employees for at a lower cost to them, but that's not your goal. Find out what the average pay is for entry level positions in your field, unless, of course, you're no longer applying for entry level positions. A couple of websites you can use are PayScale and Glassdoor. Once you know that range, compare it to your budget. Are there any adjustments you need to make? Also, be sure to take into account the full offer from the company, which is both salary and benefits. For example, if you don't have to pay for health insurance, that will reduce part of your expenses and should be factored in accordingly. If you aren't sure what benefits are and why they should matter to you, check out our video on benefits. Now that you are prepared, you're ready to negotiate your salary. Remember that this is a normal part of the process and that the employer will expect you to negotiate. Also, in the heat of the conversation, remember that you can negotiate your benefits as well as your salary at some companies. This could include benefits such as tuition reimbursement, professional development opportunities, mentoring, childcare, flex time, and insurance. Start off the conversation by making sure the employer knows that you want to accept the position. That will help the conversation as the employer will know that you are on the same page. They want to hire you and you want to work for them. Mentally, have a salary range that's acceptable to you, but offer a single figure. If you offer a range of salaries, the employer will naturally move towards the bottom of that range. And have a pitch ready for why you are worth this salary and practice that pitch in advance. Throughout the conversation, keep your tone grateful and gracious, but be confident as well. That's one reason that practice is important, because that balance can be tricky to achieve. Typically, you want to avoid accepting the first offer. And there are, of course, exceptions to that rule. That is why you need to know how much leverage you have to negotiate. There's a big difference between a new college graduate versus an expert in the field with decades of experience. Also, during this conversation, make sure to avoid going in a personal direction. Don't talk about why you personally need the money. Keep the conversation on your professional skills and why you are worth that salary. And here are a couple of questions that you can ask the employer to help steer the conversation. Ask the question, is this offer negotiable? Depending on the industry, the amount of leeway an employer can have will vary. Also ask if the benefits are negotiable, and know which benefits you want to negotiate. If the negotiation for your starting salary is not turning out the way that you hoped, it can also be helpful to ask about the potential for a future raise or promotion. For more information on how to ask for a raise once you have the job, you can check out the How to Ask for a Raise video on our channel. So, these tips will help get you ready for the salary negotiation process. If you like this video, check out our other videos on the job search, resumes, and more on our YouTube channel.